So how do you start? Number one is decide what sort of property investor you want to be. The three that come to my mind is number one, landlord, number two, investor, and number three, hands-free investor. So here's how I would define them. A landlord is somebody that's looking to be fully hands-on with the property. So they buy the property. Often these are the people that get in there and paint the walls themselves, do all of the, it's not for me personally, but do all of it themselves, keep costs dramatically low, which is obviously great from time to time. If your time's not worth a lot, definitely worth it. And then, of course, they rent out the property. They often find a tenant themselves and manage themselves. Now, that is not what I'm about, but I'm not blaming you if you want to do that. That's great. Next is an investor. Often an investor, the real difference is they are valuing their time more than the money. Now, for me, this is a smarter move because your time is your only diminishing resource. Every single second that you get back and every second that's gone is wasted, okay? So hopefully I'm not wasting your time right now. And then what happens is you buy a property, but again, they will either self-manage or they'll get a lettings manager. Smarter play, in my opinion, is getting a lettings manager. A hands-free investor, in my opinion, gets it. And I'm not saying you have to do this, but for me, I outsource absolutely everything to my team because I've got a property portfolio building service and I am one of the largest investors in that portfolio building service. But if not, and I didn't have a portfolio building service, I had another business, I would be paying somebody else to find me these opportunities, do the end-to-end process, and then manage it. And because I don't care about what the property is, what color the walls are, I care that it's in a great area, great location, attracting great tenants, and is going to go up in value over time. So from landlord, investor, and hands-free investor, this person values their money as much as possible and the level of control as much as possible, all the way over to this side where you value time as the highest asset. With that in mind, I'm going to tailor this to the beginners and I'm going to go for three relative beginner strategies, which is boring vanilla buy-to-let properties. If you've been watching this channel, you know I love them. Rent-to-rents and, of course, deal packaging. I love all three of these strategies. So buy-to-lets, boring, vanilla, buy-to-let property. If I'm new, I don't have a lot of experience, and more importantly, I don't have time, then I'm going to go down the buy-to-let route. The reason I love buy-to-lets is it is what it is. There will never, ever, 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 ever be a point that you don't want a roof over your head. Am I right in saying that? Correct. Okay. Whereas you got service accommodation, also known as holiday lets, where Airbnb, Booking.com, you rent somebody's house, all of that. And that's great until the hotels put more pressure on the industry, compliance comes in, and then there's loads of red tape around it. Do I believe service accommodation in its current format will be around forever? No, I don't. I genuinely do not believe it. However, it's a great strategy. It's also very time intensive. A lot can go wrong and it needs money to back it up. The next one is, of course, rent to rent, and then we're going to get to my favorite strategy in a moment. So rent to rents, they are pretty good, but I think people pigeonhole themselves. If I were going into rent to rent, and I've done it before, by the way, and the reason why is I got 14 rent to rents, I was making $7,000 a month, and I got rid of them all. I actually sold them on, okay? And it's because I just did not like getting phone calls from tenants at random points. You couldn't afford to get a manager. It wasn't a point. And to be fair, I could have built it through and then got management in place. But it's just a lot of moving parts for not a lot of reward, if I'm completely honest. And then the idea of a HMO is that it makes more money, but there's also a lot more problems. Obviously, when there's 5 adults, maybe their partners living in a house, there's going to be more wear and tear. There's going to be more damages. There's going to be more electric use. The heating and electric goes up staggeringly high. Okay. However, it is a really good concept. It is considered a beginner level strategy. Here's when I would consider it. If I were looking to get into HMOs and I really want to build a HMO portfolio and I want to test an area, I would first, even in my situation, I would first go into the area and get 2 or 3 rent to HMOs. This way I am reducing the amount of money that goes in, which is de-risking me. I'm able to get out of the contract if it's not working very well, and I get that sort of litmus test coming in. Once I've got some sort of confirmation of numbers, I would then feel comfortable putting together an investor pack, get it out there to investors, raise finance, pay them a set percentage, and then start building my HMO portfolio over here. So I do love rent to rents, but that's the only time I personally would use it. If you've got a bit more experience, rent to rent isn't anything to do with HMOs. It's really important saying that. Like, a lot of people think it is all about HMOs. And if you want, put rent to rent in the comments and I'll do another video around this. But you can rent to rent office space. Imagine I rented a empty piece of office. I put in desks, phones, and internet, and then I rented out the desks one by one. You can make 10 grand a month from one unit in profit, okay? Moving to my favorite strategy, deal packaging. So deal packaging, I'm going to explain what it actually is, and most of the time you've just not heard it the correct way. In general, you are sitting in the middle of a transaction. There's property on one side and the investor on the other. Now, what 99% of people do, and if you do this, you're doing it wrong and you're making your life so hard, is you go out there, find a great property, package it up, and then you put it out there to the world, Facebook groups, all of that, and try to sell your property. Now, here's the problem doing it that way round, is what makes a great property isn't your opinion, it's criteria. And then how do you get criteria? By having the investor. So what you end up doing, which is much better, is getting the investor first, talking to them about the service that you can help them achieve, and then what you do is you help that individual buy a portfolio. They sign up, pay you up front for your services, so you're retained, so you're served like a personal shopper for the investor. You will then go out and search for a property that ticks those boxes. You can offer with loads more confidence because you've got proof of funds, you know the criteria, you secure it, put it in front of your investor, well, we've got one, and then you get it through. That is the only way to do deal packaging. And by the way, another little plug here, if you are watching this and you are an investor that's got 100 grand or more to invest and you don't have the time experience, you want me to help build your portfolio, put APG in the comments. That's APG in the comments. I'll send you a link. You fill it out with your details. We'll give you a buzz and we'll book in a free one-to-one strategy session, and we'll break down exactly what we do, get you from where you're at to where you want to get to, and it's completely free. So put APG in the comments and we can go from there. So hey, these are just 3 separate strategies that I personally think are great. I genuinely believe every property strategy is great for the right person. But as I said, going back to the beginning of this video, what's your experience level? What resources do you have in time to allocate to this? And where is that availability of time? And finally, what is your financial resource in your own bank, loans, savings, crypto, ISAs, and remembering your network is your net worth. But hey, they're just my 3 top strategies for beginners especially. What I'm interested in is what strategy do you do and why do you love it so much? If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell. I'd love to see you back and watching some more videos and hopefully getting value. And if you did, it would help me out tremendously if you just tap that like button. It takes 2 seconds and adds a lot of value. Really excited for the next video. I'll see you there.